What's up, everybody? It is Alex from Heavy New York. We are back at St. Vitus once again, about the 7th time this week.
Oh.
But we got an awesome guest today. We are here with the one and only Howard Jones of
Hey,
Light
hey.
the Torch. Thank you for your time, man.
No problem, man.
Yeah, it's so good to have you here. The first Light the Torch show, and we're all looking forward to it.
Yeah, it seems like it took forever, and then it seemed like it came really fast, and I don't even know if we're ready, but here we are.
Yeah.
We're really stoked. It's just it took a long time to get here, and so now it's here. Let's do this thing.
Yeah, you were my first concert, so now I'm seeing the first Light the Torch show.
Wow, that's. I'm sorry.
I was 15. I'm 24 now. I'm old, but
Yeah, you're old.
But Revival is a phenomenal record, and I really enjoyed it. What I was curious about is, was this technically like a follow-up to They Bleed Red by Devil You Know, like the third Devil You Know record, or was this record meant to be a new era and stand out in its own entity?
Yeah, it really is a different thing. I mean, once we had to get rid of the trademark and all that good stuff, it had to be different for us. And we just kind of had to leave it behind. There's just a lot of... if you don't know what happened with Light the Torch and Devil You Know, it's online. It takes too long to explain it. But we wanted to do something different and figured, okay, why not? I'll just add more melody. And plus, every band I've been in, I think, has sounded a little different. So for me, it was just kind of a natural progression, I guess.
Absolutely. Now, what I was always curious about, whether it would have been Light the Torch or Devil You Know, just, you obviously coming from Killswitch Engage, but Ryan coming from Bleeding Through, and your guitar player, Francesco, coming from All Shall Perish. What I was always curious about with the formation of your band, was that like more or less kind of combining everything you guys have done and sort of like combining everything together, or did you guys want to do something completely that you've never done before?
Honestly, we didn't think it through that much. It was more of like, let's just write. So we just started writing. The first album, it's kind of a hodgepodge. It's kind of, there's just different sounding songs all over the place. And it's really, we're just getting to know each other and also just writing, because this was a different sort of project. And so it was evolving, but, Devil You Know was evolving and probably becoming a lot heavier or something. I don't know what we were doing, but it just kind of came to a halt. And so this just kind of became a project where we wanted it to just express what we had been through in a span of about 2 years. So that's all we were thinking. We didn't want to blend styles. We just wanted to write and throw out what exactly we felt.
It's kind of funny because obviously, you left Killswitch Engage, and when Devil You Know came in, obviously Bleeding Through was on hiatus, and, Eddie joined Suicide Silence, All Shall Perish was a little dormant, and now, like, you put out Revival, and, Bleeding Through is back, All Shall Perish, I heard, is doing some stuff again, and, you got reconciled with the guys in Killswitch Engage. It almost seems like this is, like, the perfect record to demonstrate what... Or maybe I just completely overthought it.
I don't know if you overthought it, but I definitely hadn't thought it that hard. But no, things just kind of worked out the way they did. Honestly, we just put our heads down and started writing, man, and then things just kind of progressed to where this is now.
Yeah.
I can't really explain it. It was just... for me, I just kind of fell back in love with music again because it had been a struggle for so long. And we went through so much together, and we had a great time writing and recording this album. And so here we are.
Now, one thing I was always curious about for you is, as coming from Killswitch Engage, Devil You Know, Light the Torch, and your new project with Peter Witchers from Soilwork, King Fighter.
Yes.
Yep, it's called. And, even collaborating within Temptation and Jamie Josta. With every project you've been involved in, are you in like a completely different mind frame or songwriting process, or do you, because I think that you have a very distinct voice, do you just kind of have like a blanket songwriting mode?
I think each song calls for a different approach. Um, yeah, that's I try to write for whatever the project is, um, and that's kind of the fun of songwriting and doing co-writes, and it, I just enjoy different, just trying different things, and for me, it's just a lot of fun. So yeah, it was like write with Jamie for Dee Snider's album. It's just kind of trying to get into Dee's headspace and write like that. And it was a lot of fun, you know, just and writing with Crowbot.
Yep.
You know, just fantastic band, and oh, just the music and the voice, just fantastic, and just writing with them, I just enjoy it. I don't know. I just kind of fell in love with this again. So getting to do different styles just kind of helps.
And it keeps it interesting.
It really does.
Absolutely. Now, I'm a huge fan of your lyrics, whether I was listening to This Is Absolution or from Killswitch or for the Dead and Broken off the first W No record and The Bitter End, which is my favorite song off the new one. Like, your lyrics are very meaningful, and I've noticed have touched a lot of fans' hearts. Do you need to hear music in order to come up with a lyrical concept, or has a lyrical concept in your mind ever determined the music?
That's a good question. I write every day just so that my mind stays in that headspace, but sometimes I write and there's no song or anything, and then sometimes I'll get music and something will hit, or sometimes it's a struggle. Each song's different. You just never know. I mean, there's songs that come that fast and you're like, wow, it's done, and then there's others that will drag out for a month.
Yeah.
Those songs are just, those aren't fun. They aren't fun.
Well, I feel like with every song that I've ever heard you perform on, there is a different emotion. And what I was curious about, because obviously, I remember you and I were talking one time, and you said like The Arms of Sorrow, that was a very personal song for you. But if a fan ever interprets a song of yours differently, and like tells you this is what it helped me get through this, do you have like a different outlook on that song than when you were writing it?
Oh, yeah, that happens pretty often. Yeah, there's definitely songs that from Killswitch and W No and Light the Torch that people have thought it's about one thing. It's not, but that's okay. That's what I like songs to be open to interpretation. There are some songs that are just blunt, and you know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
But then there's songs that have room for thought, interpretation. If you feel some way about it, that's cool. I've always been like that with certain bands. It's like if I don't really know exactly what they're saying, I don't want to know, because in my head I've got one idea, and if I'm wrong, I might get bummed.
Yeah, isn't that the worst?
So I'm cool with not knowing, and that's a legitimate answer right there.
Yeah, and I think that's really good to leave it open to interpretation.
Yeah. There are definitely some Faith No More lyrics I know I've got wrong, and I don't care.
I find Mr. Bungle lyrics to be harder to...
There's just no understanding of that. That's just organized chaos.
Yeah, organized chaos. That is a hardcore band title if I've ever heard.
Is
one.
it?
Yeah.
It should be.
Yeah, I don't know. I've been listening to too much hardcore lately. Damn it, Josta. Yeah. But now, as I think I kind of like a similar question to I asked previously, but obviously every record you've put out and every project you work on has been a new approach. And with the different musicians that you have collaborated with, did that allow you to kind of push yourself in as an artist, whether as a technical level vocally or even writing lyrics? Like, you're collaborating with Peter Witchers. I mean, that guy put out Natural Born Chaos. That's gotta,
Yeah, that album holds a special place in my heart. I don't know. I hadn't really thought of it like that, but I think that you're influenced in a lot of ways by who you work with, and especially, I don't know, music, art, or I don't know. If you can work with people and just kind of glean some of their stuff, and you do the same, it just kind of works. I don't know if I have a legitimate answer for that. But I do know, like, working with some of the bands I've worked with and some of the guys I've worked with, it made me a better songwriter. Yeah. And that I'm extremely grateful for, and that I know for a fact. It's just working with people who really know their craft. You have to get better. So I think that helped.
Yeah, definitely. I'd imagine you'd have to adjust something,
Yeah.
and you could definitely hear the progression behind it.
Yeah, I certainly hope so. 'Cause, I think any artist has like paintings, music, lyrics that from the beginning to the present time, you might have a little bit of shame about. When
You have no idea.
It's just what it is.
Yeah. And one final question I wanted to ask you might be a little personal, so if you just say next, I'll
Dun,
totally.
dun, dun.
But I know that you had to take a break from music for a while after you left Killswitch and stuff like that, and I think it was really inspiring. Your first episode with Jamie Josta, being able to come out and talk about that and stuff. What I was curious was there a pinnacle moment in your life that kind of made you want to do music again, or was it just the process of healing and kind of led up to that?
Honestly, I think it was because I just kind of got tired of doing nothing, and I don't do much else other than music. I felt like I needed to venture out because I had basically become agoraphobic for like 3 years. I mean, it's kind of well known. Like, I went off the grid. I didn't have a cell phone for 3 years. I just gone.
Yeah.
But it just felt like, okay, maybe I should dip my toe in. I don't have to do it full time. I don't have to do what I don't want to do. And that's all I was thinking.
Yeah.
So started moving, started doing things. It was definitely a struggle, especially for the first few years. I'm like, what am I doing? But there's been few things in my life that has been consistent other than music. And so I just kind of did it. And it just took some time, and then all of a sudden just the spark sort of showed up. I just kind of fell back in love with what I was doing. I really can't explain it. It just sort of happened.
Absolutely. It's beautiful that you were able to come back into it, but like...
But I forgot that part. But like talking with Jamie and everything, it just seemed like it was the right time.
Yeah.
I didn't think about it. It was just sort of did it. It was kind of like when I hung out with guys from Killswitch. Adam hit me up and say, "Hey, we're in town. You want to hang out?" Okay. And so for about 5 hours, we hung out. I watched the show. Not a single person there. Not a single person knew I was there. It was a lot of fun. And we just sat on the bus and talked for hours. And it just worked out. It wasn't anything I planned. It was just life kind of does things you don't expect.
Yeah. Well, I feel like Killswitch Engage was a good, because Jesse, when he first left Killswitch Engage, kind of had like a similar I mean, I can't pretend to know. I'm not you guys. I can't pretend to know everything, but I know that he was burnt out from music for a while. He had to take a break from it, and then he did Times of Grace and Empire Shall Fall, and I guess maybe a similar situation to you. I think the two singers of Killswitch relate to each other, and
yeah, there's definitely some mirroring going on there.
Yeah. So before we go, I want to thank you so much for your time.
No problem.
Yeah, but just the usual. Obviously, you're heading out on the road with Trivium in the fall. You have a couple shows with Guar. Am I correct? Just anything else you'd like to promote, or any shout-outs you'd like to give?
I don't know. When is this airing?
This is airing in approximately 6 hours.
Oh, wow. Oh, okay.
This is going to be up by midnight.
Yeah, there's a bunch of other stuff. Just I said, Peter and I were doing some cool stuff.
Yeah,
so
I'm excited
check
for
that out. It's whatever the website is, because I don't know. Yeah, there's just a lot of interesting things coming from the band, and you'll see.
Yeah,
you'll see.
Keep it mysterious.
It's gonna be interesting.
It's definitely looking forward to it. I mean, Revival is absolutely hard. Sorry, Jamie, I'll pay you later. I'll subscribe to Gas Digital Network. And
wow,
I had to. But Lorenzo wanted me to remind you that he's from Brooklyn. Danny Filth is from British.
there are some things that will never change.
Absolutely. But thanks again, Howard, for your
No
time.
problem, man.
Yeah. Everybody, we are here with Howard Jones of Light the Torch. Pick up Revival. It is absolutely hard. I owe you another $20, and we will see you next time on Heavy New York.
Later.